Now I believe Jones is better than Haskins. Look, both guys are going to be playing in new offensive systems, new head coaches this upcoming season. No one's doing them any favors there. But from what I have seen so far, the really Jones's only drawback as a young quarterback, obviously he'll get better at various things, reading defenses and all that, but the glaring weakness is the turnovers, but the turnovers as fumbles. Like, you got to hold on to the ball, and while that's a correctable mistake, not everyone who's ever had a fumbling problem has gotten over that, so I'm a little concerned. But assuming he does get over the fumbling problem, I think Jones is just better. He can make those kind of, what do you call them, Dan, off-platform throws better, right? He's more mobile, although Haskins was more mobile than advertised for sure as a pro. Jones seems to have better improvisational ability. I just think he's a higher-end talent, it seems to me. There are more things he can do. And as a rookie, on a dysfunctional kind of team, 24 touchdowns against 12 interceptions. Not only that, a lot of touchdowns for a young player who didn't play a full season. It's a 2-to-1 touchdown and interception ratio. Haskins, I know it's not an apples-to-apples comparison, smaller sample size, 1-to-1 touchdown to interception, ratio. So when the other guy, Jones, is also the more mobile guy, also the eye test tells you is better, I think that's the guy you go with, and I'm going with him.
Well, you can go ahead and do that. I will concede that watching Daniel Jones, I was impressed with him, more impressed with him than I thought I'd be. So I will give him credit for that. I do think that there's an upside to him and that Giant fans should be a bit excited because I think he was a better option at this stage of his career than Eli Manning was last year, no doubt about it, which is why Eli Manning retired. But I'm not giving up on Dwayne Haskins, and here's the reason why, guys. Last time I checked, Dan Orlovsky and Max Kellerman, coaching mattered. And Dwayne Haskins was playing for a coach who never wanted him in Jay Gruden. And I think it showed with Jay Gruden's coaching of him, how he was brought along and whatever. And I think that definitely derailed him and slowed the process of his development, which is why it's a good thing that Jay Gruden is gone. Think about, and Daniel Snyder is obviously sick to his stomach over this. Sean McVay was on his staff. Matt LaFleur was on his staff. But somehow, some way, Jay Gruden was your head coach, the one that you held on to and wouldn't get rid of and let those guys walk out the door and become more successful as head coaches than Jay Gruden ever had an opportunity to be. I think that Haskins' development was stalled because of that. And I think that we'll see better from him now that Ron Rivera is there. Last time I checked, Ron Rivera is a pretty damn good coach. You said that, Max. You said that, Orlovsky. You said it on numerous occasions. Ron Rivera can coach. He's a leader. He develops and cultivates good relationships with his players, particularly his quarterback. We know what Cam Newton was under him as well. You take all of those things into consideration. I think that compared that to Joe Judge, we don't know much about Joe Judge. Joe Judge was a positional coach, and I'm not rooting against him. I wish Joe Judge nothing but the best. But the reality of the situation is that there were a plethora of coaches out there in terms of resume that definitely deserved the opportunity to be the next head coach of the New York Giants rather than him. When Ron Rivera got the Redskins job, there's nobody that questioned that. Nobody questioned his credentials and what he brings to the table. So I think Haskins is in a better situation now than Daniel Jones may be. And as a result, I think that might equal the playing field a little bit, and then we'll find out what these guys are. I'm not giving up on Haskins yet. I'm going to still say Haskins.
I love when Stephen A. brings up smart points. It just warms my morning when Stephen A. brings up in-depth smart points. I agree with Stephen A. I'm going to take Dwayne Haskins. I'm going to go at Max a little bit. Listen, if you're just trying to see who might have the upper hand in kind of the reality of the situations, both offensive lines for these young quarterbacks are going to struggle. They're still going to struggle depending on what either team does early in the draft. But if I'm looking at what guy has the most dynamic wide receiver to get the ball to, I'd say it's Terry McLaurin in Washington. As good as Sterling Shepard is and Golden Tate, who's my boy, and Darius Slayton, a young promising receiver in New York, like McLaurin has got special wide receiver written on him. And then I look at a slot receiver like a Trey Quinn in Washington, who was hurt for a good amount last year. Like, he's going to be another option for Dwayne Haskins And then Kelvin Harmon will take a step forward. So I think just the wide receiver crews are relatively even, but Terry McLaurin has got dynamic special written on him as a wide receiver. And then the second thing is we talked about coaching, or Stephen A. talked about coaching. Not only is Ron Rivera there, but he's bringing over Scott Turner, who's going to be their offensive coordinator. Was integral in allowing Cam Newton in 2018 to play some of his best football. Very good understanding of the quarterback position, how to get guys' skill sets to be kind of the focal point of what they want to do offensively. He's got a great understanding of that. That's a big deal in comparison to Jason Garrett, who's not going to have an offseason to work with Daniel Jones or and the third thing is Kyle Allen is coming over. And I don't know how that environment or relationship is going to go, but we do know that Kyle Allen is going to be able to teach Dwayne Haskins that offense. And I'm looking at it as a good situation for Dwayne Haskins to really elevate his game.
Or take his job. I mean, Kyle Allen looked pretty good for stretches, and if Haskins really struggles, if he looks like he did or just a tick better than last year, Allen could get starts.
Colt McCoy can
but
do that
look,
in New York.
I appreciate the coaching. No, I think Jones has distanced himself from guys like that already, actually. But, Stephen A., I appreciate the coaching point, and Dan, you also brought it up. You look at a guy like Eric Flowers, who was a bust in New York, a bust at offensive tackle. He leaves, someone moves him to guard, and he's playing better. And, in fact, Washington re-signed him. So, coaching makes a difference, and hopefully the Giants coaching staff is not incompetent. Clearly, Washington's won't be with Ron Rivera at the helm. I appreciate that. In fact, Dan, the most special receiver on either team is the Giants tight end, Evan Ingram. I mean, you conveniently left him out of your conversation there. And yes, he's been a little bit injury prone, but he is a special receiver. He just plays tight end. And then you add Saquon Barkley, who can do so many things, and had an oddly off year for him. The Giants' offensive line is much improved. I think Jones already also has a head start on Haskins. Like, when last seen, he was a significantly better quarterback than Haskins.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.